Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this isn't actually me playing Critical Ops. This is me talking about the new team on Ubisoft and about like what they're doing with the game. So basically right now, all they're doing is ripping the ACOGs off of every single operator on defense, making everybody a 2v2 armor. I mean, what they're doing with Jack or Jaeger, they're making him a 2-speed 2 armor, and they're giving him a nitrocell. People use him because of his gun, not because of him. Sure, yeah, he's overpowered as a 3-speed, but like, really? They're also increasing Blitz's ADS time. They're getting rid of Doc's ACOG, and they're making him a 2-speed 2 operator. All this is gonna do is make Doc less picked, and Rook's pick rate is just gonna go right up. I mean, it's just gonna skyrocket. All that's gonna do is just skyrocket Rook. And you're gonna get Rook armor every game. Jackal's getting his shotgun taken away. They're just going. Doc's getting impacts now. The FMG9 is getting an ACOG. There's no longer 3 breach charges. It's 2. The suppressor will decrease damage now by 10%. All they're doing is they're just making everything terrible. That's all they're doing. They're just changing all the stuff from what the other dev team did. Sure, the other dev team wasn't perfect, but at least some of the stuff actually made sense. We've gotten used to Doc being 1-speed and stuff like that. And now it's just actually not how it's going to be. It's actually, even though you've gotten used to everything, we're going to change everything. Like, you used to roam with Jaeger, now he's a 2-speed 2 armor with a nitrocell. That's going to completely change his playstyle. Like, a lot. I mean, Jaeger's not going to go from a roaming superstar with ADSs to Jaeger's just Jaeger. He has a nitrocell. He's okay. That's all it's gonna turn into. It's dumb. I don't like what they're doing because, well, we've gone through it for 5 years. 5 years, right? We've gotten used to these operators, and now all of a sudden, everything's changed. It's like a new game, and I don't like what they're changing it. It's not for the better. People won't like the changes they're making. I'm being honest here. I'm speaking for our community. People aren't going to like what they're doing. And this dev team, I'm not sure what they're thinking. It's not going to work. No one's going to really like this game. I'm sure people are going to continue to play this game, but I'm sure some people aren't going to continue. Similar thing happened to Fortnite. I mean, they just started changing everything what people were used to and adding in all sorts of different dumb stuff to their game. And the game, look where the game is now. It used to be number 1. Everyone knew about it. Everyone played it. And now it's honestly dead. It died. I enjoyed playing the game when it was still a battle royale, not a let's get in the helicopter and fly and turn it into Titanfall 2 with Max. But the problem with this game is that it's turned into, it's just, with what they're doing, they're turning the game into, they're balancing, sure, yeah, maybe they're balancing issues and stuff like that. But people main Jaeger because he's a good operator. You can't, if somebody's good and someone has a high pick rate, that doesn't automatically mean you should completely get rid of it so he doesn't have a high pick rate and every operator is now bad. That's not what a high pick rate means. There has to be a worst operator in a game and a best operator in a game on each side. It's how it has to be. And sure, some operators are still going to be good, but Doc's now Doc's Oryx, but with, is just literally Oryx, but he has a stim gun and different pistols. That's it. That's literally it. That's all they've turned Doc into, is more of a roaming game rather than an anchor to kill your teammates. Doc's design is to be an anchor. That's his design. That's what he is. He's an anchor. That's how he's designed, and that's how he's supposed to be playing. You sit there and you heal your teammates. What you do. You sit there and you heal your teammates while they're around. What he's not designed for is to run around with an MP5 without a gun. That's not what he's designed for. He's not, because operators without ACOGs are meant to roam around and be quick. He's not supposed to do that. That's not what his design is. And that's my problem with Doc. Now with Jaeger, 2-speed roamer, it's still going to be fine. A nitro cell's really going to change him up. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm curious. The only problem with Doc is the P90 and the MP5 no longer have their ACOG. And only 2 breach charges? That seems like they just don't like attackers. I mean, it's fun. But, yeah, but 3 breach charges is... People usually use those. And with 2, it starves. I mean, you're going to have people... Instead of one guy running breach charges and one guy running claymores, you're now going to have 2 people running... You're going to have 2 people running breach charges. So you have a similar amount of breach charges, right? That's my problem with that. Jaeger, I'm interested to see how it works. It might be for the better, it might be for the worst. It'll be interesting. Now, I'm curious to see how that works. And with the suppressor, like, what the heck? 10% damage? That literally just makes it completely useless. Because now you can't hear people, but when you hit someone in the body shot, it does 9/10 of the damage it could have done. Sure, it can get rid of some range, but like 10% damage? What the heck? 10%. That's, if a gun does, let's say you're playing Ash with the G360. I'm not saying this is accurate. I'm saying, let's play you're playing Ash with the G360, and let's say the G360 does 40 damage. Actually, it'll be easier if I just do whatever. Something that can be divided by 10. Let's say you're using the SMG-11 and it does 20 damage, right? 20 damage, correct? 10% of that. 10% of 20. Yeah, okay, whatever. I don't feel like doing math. It's significantly less. That's what I'm trying to say. If you could put a suppressor on the Kali Sniper, and because it does, like, I'll just say 100 damage, you're only doing 90 damage, meaning you're not even guaranteeing it down. That's the problem. And there's another one, this is an interesting change. It's not for the better, it's not really for the worse. The Russian sights are now going to be changed to the normal. So I'm curious to see how Glaz works out with that. I mean, I think Glaz is my biggest curiosity right there. Because Fuse and Plinka and all the rest of them are going to be fine. But Glaz is my biggest question. Is like, if you're running a reflex sight, is it the normal reflex sight? It's my biggest curiosity. And okay. But like, these are changes that really didn't have to be made. Like, the suppressor was fine as is. It doesn't really matter. But what about the Russian sights? That didn't need to be changed. There was no reason for that at all. I'm not saying I'm mad about it, but it's an interesting change, to say the least. It's an interesting change. A lot of these changes aren't necessary. Doc was fine as is. It's what he's designed to be. It's how he looks like. That's his purpose. It's what he is. And he's turned into this different, weird operator. Because he can anchor with his stuff, but he doesn't have... Like, no, I'm not saying getting rid of the ACOG is bad. I'm just saying it's a weird decision that didn't have to happen. What the heck just happened to the game? It was a weird decision that didn't need to happen. It was pointless. He was fine. He was balanced. I don't like the ACOG on defenders, but I know a ton of people do. Yeah, so what all this is going to do is simply increase the amount of people, the pick rates on Rook and Echo. Because they're now the only 2 operators on defense with an ACOG. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But Personally, these changes aren't necessary, and the game could have been left as is. There's all sorts of other problems that I would rather them fix, rather than them setting their minds on something kind of irrelevant, like the Russian sites and the suppressor. Suppressor was fine. There wasn't really that much of a harm, there wasn't that much of a punishment for you using the suppressor, just a little bit of range decrease. And now it's a little bit different. Now you won't want to use the suppressor simply because you want full damage. And a little bit of range is fine, but 10%, that's pretty dramatic. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on the new dev team and what they're doing and why I don't think that's really for the greater good in Siege. Because I'm a big fan of Siege, personally. Personally, I love Siege. It's one of my favorite games. And I loved Siege for what it was, and I got used to this stuff. If I didn't play it if I timed my joining a little bit different, I wouldn't have been as used to it. But I didn't know that there was going to be a new team. And now I'm used to the other operators. And this is going to completely swap games for me. It depends to see, because I know a lot of people agree with me. I just know that for a fact. I know there's a ton of people out there that are going to be like, yeah. Because the changes they're making are completely irrelevant. That's that. They aren't necessary. Crap. They aren't necessary. And there's other fixes in this game that could have easily happened. But they don't need to do this. That's for sure. They did not need to do this. There's no reason for it. I mean, what's the backing? Like, oh, okay. I know. The suppressor was too good. Be honest, how many people really ran suppressor unless they were memeing and trying to be sneaky? How people really ran suppressor? And now, how many people do you think are going to be running suppressor unless they know what's going on? That's that. Anyway, I think this will be the end of the video, guys. That they did not need to make those changes. They were pointless. But yeah, I think that was the end of the video, guys. See ya.